Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about an upcoming snowstorm for the northeastern United States, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I also have a very exciting announcement to present to you guys. We have a direct weather store now that you can go check out. That's going to be in the pinned comment and in the description, where you can buy some direct weather masks and some mugs. That's what we have available right now. I think they'd be great Christmas gifts, so go ahead and check those out. They're in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, do you think this snowstorm is going to be more of a Ohio Valley snowstorm or a northeast snowstorm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now, let's get into this video, and first things first, we're going to be taking a look at kind of our upper air pattern. I wanted to show you guys this because I'm trying to teach you guys more and more stuff at this point. We have a zonal pattern still. We've talked about that in recent videos. Let's get right into the simulated radar. This is going to be by about, I would say, 3 a.m. on Sunday, November 22nd, so we're still 2 days away from when this storm is going to be starting up. We're going to be using our GFS model today. We will take a look at the European model as well later on. Let's move it on towards about 2 p.m. on Sunday, November 22nd, and as you can see, we begin to see some light snow for portions of Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, New York. One thing I want to mention is this can trend further south or further east, colder or warmer, so we could see some things change in the coming days, but I will be updating you guys on this storm. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at later in that afternoon where we're going to start to see some heavy snowfall for upstate New York and portions of New England. Alright, now here we are taking a look at what I would say is probably about 5 p.m. on Sunday, November 22nd, and as you can see, we do have some heavy snowfall entering into New York, portions of Vermont, and Massachusetts seeing some light snowfall. There is some mixing going on. I will say this is going to be a sloppy snowstorm. It's not going to be major, it's not going to be big, it's going to be actually quite minor, and it's going to be sloppy, but it is the biggest thing going on right now in the weather world, which is surprising, but I do want to talk about it because it is, again, just the most video-worthy thing going on at this moment. We do have a trough heading in behind this one that is significant because it will bring some colder air behind it to start the week next week, I think. Let's just go ahead and move on towards probably about 11 p.m. on Sunday now at this point. As you can see, that trough moves further and further east. We see snowfall still going on for the Adirondacks, the Green Mountains, New Hampshire, and Maine. The snowfall is heading further and further north. Our low pressure center on this model is actually more of the west-based one. There's going to be kind of 2 low pressure centers. One is kind of offshore and one is more inland. And we see this type of a storm track every now and then, I would say. And it really depends on which one's more dominant. Is it going to be that one that's further inland, or are we going to see a more dominant coastal low? That would really determine who sees more snowfall at this point. Right now, we're seeing more of an inland solution on most of the models. What we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to move on towards about 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. on Monday, November 23rd in just a moment. Alright, now here we are taking a look at again about 4 a.m. on Monday, November 23rd. And as you can see, we actually have that low pressure center very far inland. We see the Adirondacks just under that low pressure center. And what that does is that allows for some warm air in the middle layers of the atmosphere, which prevents snow for a lot of regions, except for the areas to the east of the low pressure center, like the White Mountains, northern Maine seeing some snowfall. And then we actually end up, by time we're taking a look at 2 p.m. on Monday, seeing some back-end lake effect snowfall after this storm is all said and done. This one's going to be very sloppy because some of the areas that are seeing a lot of snow are going to see some rain for very brief periods. That's why I said mostly snow on the thumbnail. I do think that pretty much everywhere we'll see rain at certain points. I do think that those areas in the areas that I said some snow, we'll see some snowflakes, but really the accumulation could be limited by the rain mixing in a lot. And then the mix area is obviously an area that could see some snow, but might see all rain, mostly just going to see mixed precipitation at most points. Lake effect afterwards, however, we will need to get closer to the storm occurring, but this could actually, tack on quite a few inches of snow afterwards. All right, now let's just go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at that European model. We're going to take that one through the simulated radar just like we did the GFS model and see how this one looks very, very different. Alright, now here we are with our European model starting out at about 4 a.m. on Sunday, November 22nd. As you can see, we're already noticing a very large difference. We're seeing snowfall going on for Indiana and Indiana and Illinois there. I don't know why I wanted to say Ohio. I guess there is a little bit of blue in Ohio, so you could say that as well. And then by time we move it on to about 2 p.m. on Sunday, November 22nd, we see heavy snowfall going on for Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. I would say Detroit is in there as well. Also, northern Pennsylvania and New York, western New York, that is beginning to see snowfall as well. By the time we take this one all the way up to where it is around New England, we can see that the low pressure center is much further east. It is much more coastal, and we actually see quite a bit more back-end snowfall there for the Adirondacks, the Catskills, some of the Berkshires there, the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, and even some portions in northern Maine. All right, so let's just go ahead and start taking a look at some of our total snowfall maps from some of these models. First off, our GFS model. What you need to know is the gray areas are likely not seeing any accumulation, especially on the southern ends there. That's where the model is picking up that you will see snow falling, but really, is it going to accumulate with that very slight amount of snow coming out of the sky? It's very unlikely at this point. The GFS does have a general 1 to, I would say, probably 6 inches of snow going on for western New York, the Adirondacks, and portions of the White Mountains in northern Maine. We also see some purple showing up for northern Maine, which is probably about 6 to 8 inches of snow. So this is, again, a pretty slight snowstorm to maybe moderate, depending on what you consider moderate. Let's just go ahead and move on and take a look at that European model. As you can see, it doesn't have a lot for New England or Northeast at all. Maybe a dusting to maybe a couple of inches there, maybe 2 inches or so for the White Mountains and north of there, possibly for the Adirondacks as well. But it's mostly Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan where we see a general chance at 1 to 6 inches of snow there. So there's two different solutions here, primarily being picked up by the models. Again, that's why I asked you guys today, do you think the Ohio Valley or the Northeast will see more snowfall with this storm? It's a very relevant question. What we're going to do is we're going to move on. We're going to check out our Canadian model, our NAM model, and then our RGEM model to close out the video. Alright, now here we are taking a look at the Canadian model, and as you can see, this one actually has quite a bit of snow going on for Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin. Also, similar to the European model, we have Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan involved there, especially in those purple and pinks regions where we're expecting possibly 6 to 12 inches of snow according to this model. The one thing I would warn you of is this is an outlier. The Canadian model is going against what all of the other major models said, and when the Canadian is the outlier, that's not a very good sign. If the European is an outlier, I take it a lot more seriously. Even if the GFS is an outlier, I take it a lot more seriously. If the Canadian model is an outlier, I highly recommend taking it with a major grain of salt. Okay, it also has quite a bit of snowfall going on for New England, similar to the GFS model, so that's not an outlier in that aspect. We do have another model backing that opinion up. So for the Adirondacks, the Green Mountains, the White Mountains, northern Maine, we are seeing many solutions saying potentially 2 to 6 inches of snow is a pretty good chance. Let's take a look at our NAM model, and the NAM model gets a little bit carried away. This is very common with this model. It looks pretty similar to the European model here on the Ohio, the Indiana, the Michigan areas. But then as we get to New England, it definitely has more snow than what any of the other models are calling for, especially for New York as well. You can see western New York and upstate New York expecting, again, anywhere from about a dusting to 6 inches in the blues. And then those purples to pinks, that's where we're expecting 6 to possibly 14 or 16 inches there. For the Adirondacks and areas just to the east of the lakes. That's where we're expecting lake effect snow afterwards. These high resolution models do a much better job picking up on lake effect snowfall because obviously lake effect snowfall is a higher resolution type weather event. The GFS model is never going to be able to pick up on those heavy, very small bands, but our NAM model will do a much better job. That's why this one is calling for a lot more next to the lakes. We also see Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine getting more than the other models were showing. A general widespread area of 6 to 10 inches in those pinks. But again, when the NAM is an outlier, you want to be very careful because this model is not known for being necessarily the best. And then finally, our RGEM model, which is my favorite model of them all. I think it's the most accurate in the short range. This is a long range outlook for this model, so this is kind of asking a lot from it. But it doesn't have a lot for New England. It doesn't have a lot for the Northeast. It does have snowfall, which is the important part. So there will be snow likely. It's just there is a huge question of if we will get a lot or if we will get practically none. Though for Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, this model does call for a general 3 to 6 inches of snow being possible there. So that area has a good chance of having the most, but there is also some other models like the NAM that call for a lot more for New England. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, what kind of pattern do you think we will be in for December? Do you think we will be in kind of a flip-flop pattern like we've been in, a stagnant pattern? What do you think? And Zeta Derv said, I'm thinking the temperatures in December will be flip-flop. There will be times when it will be warmer, and there will be times when it is colder. That's kind of how this later portion of November is setting up, so I certainly think that's a good possibility throughout the month of December. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our diamond patrons, Michael Codalessa, Madbirds, Alicia Davis, Catbite, Terry Curtis, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Felix Wheatfield, Michael Buell, Mariah Vieira, Kellen Manhart, Noah Harley, and Mark J, alongside our platinum patrons, Adam S., Justin Quantrell, Donna Carnes, Alan Belemo, Larry LePan, Dovie Nagel, James Wade, and Cameron Marshall. If you would like to be on our Patreon end screen, you can do so by joining our Patreon page in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.